All right. Well, another week, another episode of RHOP. Here we are, episode 13, season 8. Sharing is caring.
Mm. Will 13 prove
I would
on?
like, I
Oh,
would like to share a toast
Okay.
to the
I'll be blowing my
possibility
nose.
of Grace's escape. And, I'll leave it at that.
The Grace escaped.
Toast. Yes.
Shit. Mm. Oy.
Cheers.
You are now watching Mind You Media.
Mind you!
We can't use that. We don't have the rights. You are now streaming Mind You Media.
Into hydrating. I'm really into that. Okay, what's next is our dear friend Kristen will be giving the recap. The recap warrior, our very own
I like that.
Kristen May.
Put some respect on your name finally, because she was like, I'm always doing the recap.
Okay, I'm
You got
gonna
the
count
timer?
you off.
Have
You
you
got
learned
the timer
to
ready? 1 minute.
not be a hater and give me my time?
I'm trying to be open to the world, accepting, welcoming of, different approaches, paces. So here we go on the count of 3.
Okay.
1, 2, begin.
Okay, so we are in season 8, episode 13, Sharing is Caring. We first open on to Mia and Gordon at their apartment, where Mia is welcoming Ashley so they can talk and discuss why Ashley ain't never getting no divorce. Then we go to Nneka and Wendy's long-awaited sit-down, where there is a lot of tension. Wendy is very unopen, and it doesn't seem to end well. We just see Nneka be thirsty and pitiful. Then we go to a very cute interaction between Chris and Candace, where they are discussing with a little bit of lovingness, a little bit of jabbiness, the lack of time they're spending together, and Candace's sense of a health emergency. Then we see Giselle, Grace, and the twins attend Grace's high school graduation. It looks like Giselle is trying to be a doting, loving mother, but the twins call her on bullshits. Then go to Robyn.
Time.
Dang.
Close, quite close.
Yeah, this is
Super
close.
close.
You've come a
You know what
long
slowed
way.
you down? You repeated the episode title.
Yeah.
That took like at least 45 seconds.
Mhm.
Not 45 of the 60.
Something like that. I don't know that.
Well, let me just carry on. The last
Yes.
2 important pieces of this episode, Mia and Nneka and Robyn meet up to go clothes shopping. They always got to have a clothes shopping scene before a trip, but it's always at a janky ass store. And the producers, who are haters apparently, want us to see they only spent $65 wherever they were.
Yes.
That was okay.
Basically, that was to recap the conversation between Nneka and Wendy, where Nneka was equivocating and lying, and her story is never stable. Then the women finally prepare to go off to the Dominican Republic, hosted by Robyn. We see a lot happen. There's a lot of antics around the room distribution. Robyn gets consistently played by Karen in the best ways. Giselle seems to be some strange machinations around Kiarna with respect to Wendy and Candace. So with that, that's what we got. Let's get into it.
Yes. Thank you for that. Excellent
Woo.
work. Excellent work. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's start with go on.
No, I have a lot to say. I just want the record to reflect.
All right, well, let's start from the top. Let's start with Ashley coming over to Mia and Gordon's. Let's start in Baltimore.
But before
what do you gotta say?
before Ashley arrives, Mia is recounting to Gordon this like beef she has with Karen, and she said, because I guess it was about
the pajama party or whatever they had at Nneka's house. And then Gordon said, now, what did she mean by trick? Nigga, you know exactly what she meant. Because when you met Mia, she was turning tricks. Like,
mistaken laughter.
That's not an insult. That's a statement of fact. She, like, as Karen apparently said on Watch What Happens Live, which Karen and maybe Dr. Jackie from Married to Medicine was on Watch What Happens Live Sunday night after the airing of both shows. And I think Andy said he does some hot seat segment and he asked Karen, like, what about Mia being a hoe? And Karen said, Mia's a hoe. A hoe always gonna be a hoe. And then Andy was like, Karen, shade. And she was like, no. Mia considers herself a hoe. She identifies as a hoe. Fair.
Yeah. It's a descriptive statement. There's no value judgment. And
literally just a descriptive statement.
And in the delivery of her jab last episode, she was like, she said, when Mia said you can't teach an old dog new trick, she said, no, you're the trick.
That was good. That was a good one.
You're the trick.
And when they're in DR, fast forward to later in the episode, when they're in DR, Mia goes, I was the girl on the golf trips with the.
She does.
Like, instead of the Dominican women who are being used for sex tourism by people like Ray Huger, Mia said, I was one of them. We all know what the men who go there by themselves are
yearly golf trip.
Make no motherfucking mistake, okay? Mia said, I was the girl on the golf trip. She's literally invoking sex tourism, but obviously she's not going international for it, okay? I mean, she might have been. Anyway, turning tricks, that's what that means.
Yes.
So
she's not ashamed.
I don't even know why he's pivoting to that, because last episode he was like, sugar daddy, da-da-da-da-da. It's like, okay, these are the origins of the relationship. You met me at the strip club. That's no secret. Like, now you're trying to act like Mia never turned tricks.
It set him up to look dumb. Like, that type of question, it's like there's only one type of answer besides I don't know, which is just like, And
I think background actor. I think Mia was like, she was kind of embarrassed, almost like she forgot Gordon knows how she gets down, because she was like, child, I don't even know what she meant. And it's like, no, y'all both know what she meant.
And frankly, I think that's why Mia can't get mad. Like, that's why she can't even represent a righteous position to be mad at Karen about, because she knows what it is too. Like, when she goes to talk to the women later on in the episode, it's like, no, Karen, I just know what it is with her. Like, you can't turn up. What?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Ashley gets
I also
there.
Even before Gordon and Mia talk, I think it's important to say they are not at Nneka's PJ party, okay? And we might forget because the Super Bowl happened in between. They didn't have an episode, but we really wanted to see a continuation,
that was exactly. I noticed that, right? But they clearly filmed it because it's like a tradition in the Housewives franchise for the like announcement of the international trip to be filmed and part of the story. But yeah, they just did it as a flashback that we never actually saw in the story proper. Yeah, they're just another sign of bad work, very bad production work.
I also thought, I guess this is the problem with watching this show in real time with Twitter discourse, but I guess I thought when Eric got fired on Twitter that like
it was going to be a radical change.
Yeah, like, and then I was like, oh, I guess the episode or the season was done, because I saw his name flash up at the beginning as a producer on this one. I was like, oh, you still around? I thought there was a shorter gap between.
I'm sure he finished every segment before he left, right? So at this point, they're just deciding like how much to cut for the sake of a commercial break to get it down to 45 minutes, but that he pre-did segments. Because as we already mentioned, some fuller segments circulate on the internet, and but the ones that air are a little shorter.
Well, his fingerprints are still all over this mess. Anyway, so Ashley comes.
Yes.
So Ashley comes, and Mia had never been to Ashley's house when she lived in the penthouse. Ashley just moved.
Shocking. Yes, Ashley has lived there the whole time.
Funny. And you know what I thought? I thought, because Michael Darby was not allowing Ashley to have company over. That must be the reason. Because why else? They
Or
were
certain
not
times.
antagonists.
Remember Deborah came over.
That's what I was gonna say. The only people allowed were
Deborah.
her like neighborhood friends.
Deborah came to the
Not like
house, the penthouse.
yes, a lot.
Deborah came, and then
A
some-
lot.
Yeah,
Like they would
Deborah
do
came at
mommy
least
stuff together.
twice for mommy stuff, and then some other light-skinned woman who was at her housewarming came last season too. Like she had
A
mommy.
To clarify, Deborah is Sesame Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
Deborah was in the. I don't even remember. I remember her being in that restaurant. I remember her being at Karen's variety show. I
Deborah
remember her
had a
being
little
at Spring
arc.
Fling.
Deborah had a little arc last season that culminated with her little Chris was trying to get at me, but like she had been popped up throughout the season.
Yeah.
I think my mind goes blank when Ashley comes on the screen, so I did not remember that.
Yeah, it was. She had her Arlington friends, but she didn't have anyone from the show ever at the penthouse.
Okay.
At least,
Okay.
in recent seasons. But I don't recall ever people coming to the penthouse from the show.
Oh yeah, Giselle's been there. Karen's been there.
Okay.
Somebody, yeah. I know other people have, but earlier, not recently, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Ashley is settling in. She arrives. Mia, like a good hostess, has a Corona ready for her. And then, of course, Gordon traipses his little butt through. You got my shirt? Yeah, I left it on top of the picnic basket because he's going to take the kids to field day to chaperone. And he's like, did you iron it? And she's like, no, I didn't. And he's like, they show him being like,
Yes.
the ugly side of Gordon. Because you know how he's been trying to perform good husband.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to register. Like, no, he has these expectations, and it's like if the shirt she was supposed to iron was the one he actually wore, it didn't need to be ironed. It was just a blue stretchy shirt stretching over his big belly, and
He's going to field
wrinkle
day.
free.
He doesn't need.
Wrinkle-free.
Yeah.
I think he just wanted to perform like big bad man in front of Ashley, which is like
It feels
And-
like it's like the diminishment of their income means like he wants to revert to older traditional
Yes.
scripts. Okay, if we're
Yes.
gonna be poor now, you have to be homemaker instead of
Yes.
like sugar baby. It's like,
right.
no, Gordon.
Instead of CEO sugar baby, but it's like you don't have a job either, Gordon. Like you're retired, so why is she the one who is expected to iron your shirt? She's about to host a friend over. Iron your shirt your damn self.
And it's like he thinks that's a power move, and it's
Yeah.
like no.
But I
No.
wonder if he did that for the audience of Ashley, because he's like, oh, Ashley comes from a circumstance where there's a man controlling the purse strings who bosses her around. So let me just like make clear that this is the status I'm supposed to have in this relationship.
I also wonder if
Yeah.
it's, this is the second time that he's been featured as daddy daycare. Like, oh, Gordon's gonna take the kids out to Scooter earlier in the season. So I wonder if he's like, oh, I'm a man. I'm not just gonna, because I don't have the money anymore, become the woman in the relationship. Like let me jab her really quickly.
But he needs to get his story straight, because he's either gonna be like sweet, supportive husband, or he's gonna be boss fucking bully, telling her to do the housework.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. So then Ashley gets to speaking, and then thoughts on.
She ain't say shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such an insincere little fuck. I'm sorry. I hate her so much when she tries to cry. Like my mom, I remember coming home, like grandma picked us up and we had everything we owned on the curb. And if I think about my kids, it's like, Ashley, there's not even redness in your eye. We don't think you're not moved. Shut up.
And you know what? I'm like, bitch, I'm sorry. I'm not moved by that little wannabe invocation of a trauma. And that is not your fundamental trauma. That is just not the deepest, most form of trauma that governs your behavior. The one you have is related to white father. So miss me with that, because the other thing that happens, I saw someone tweet like, so, and I mostly agreed with it. So Ashley doesn't know how to be or do without a man. And it's like, what man? Her father did not raise her. So it was her mom and the assistance of family members, her mother's family, helping them. So it's like, if you will have seen your mom do this or that to try to make, a comfortable life for you, even if her efforts, did not always successfully enable you to have comfort and security, material security at all times, presumably the lesson would have been like, let me also hustle. Let me also, but that's not what you've been doing.
Yeah.
You've been sitting in that marriage, pretending you're a kept woman. You were not kept. Look at the way Ashley dresses. Does Ashley have any and this is not a reflection of this other argument that people are making on Twitter, but does Ashley have any indicator of like luxury, comfort? These are not the signs of a kept woman. You are a prisoner in that
No.
house. Concubine at best. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like,
All right.
if the man was a real sugar daddy, wouldn't you have bought stuff on his dime? Wouldn't you have like tried to cash it as much as possible before the well ran dry?
Wouldn't you have like tried to mimic the like cute, like get a stylist and try to run with the big dogs? Like, that was her narrative at the beginning. Like, oh, I want to get into this group of women. But it's like, how did you end up shopping at Shein all day long and getting
her
the
fashion
ugly
sense?
thing?
Yes, it's going backwards. It's Shein, and it's what she was wearing in college at best. Like, did you see her travel clothes for the plane?
Yes. She looked like she was going to class, as a sophomore. I'm like,
Exactly.
And don't do that. It's like, don't wear your little Jordans. Again, it feels like you're playing in blackness. It's like, I always back to the poor box braids. Like, shut up, Ashley. It's just a costume. Stop.
For the record, once again, Kristen's complaint is that Ashley got a box braid right in the middle of the widow's piece.
Oh, and it was like, it wasn't even fastened nicely. It was like, why is it so loose? Why is it right there? Girl.
And the way her hairline is, it's just like,
why?
Out of all people, I mean, it would be bad regardless, but for sure, stop.
Somebody should
Don't ever put a braid right in the middle. That's
I know you saw it, Candace. That was a prime opportunity for you to get your shit off. Please.
She probably did, and they didn't air it.
No, for sure. For sure. Okay, but since we're talking about tragic figures, let's just jump to Nneka and that convo with Wendy. Okay, they meet up. Nneka's, saying she wants to really come to terms, like reset, and things didn't go well.
Wait, I have a verbatim recap of that scene. I like rewatched it 3 times just to be sure. Okay. First thing producers hit us with is a recap. I believe that was the first thing, like as they're walking in. Also, I just want to point out, you notice that Nneka walks like this? Can y'all see
I saw your tweet about that. But you have to do the body with it. She lurches like,
Yeah, it's like, please.
Her legs are turned in toward each other. Like, she has a cute shape and figure, but she like is so inward.
She wears her insecurity on her posture.
Like, I don't think she's pigeon-toed, but she walks and stands as if she's pigeon-toed,
Yeah, she's like, she's shrinking her body, but lurching her face forward, begging.
Is she tall?
Please. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
She's defo tall.
Yeah.
Tall woman myself, by the way. Okay, so the producers should give us a recap, reminding us that at that little pool cabana at the Motel 6, Wendy said to Nneka, you came here with the intent of going against your fellow Nigerian sister. Instantly, Nneka goes, oh, please. She shuts it down immediately. And to me, that is just like, Nneka's heard that before from another Nigerian. Like, in other words, she's heard from another Nigerian woman, like, why are you antagonizing me when we could be bonding? Or at least another Black woman. And that she has reflexively developed total rejection of it. She will not hear it, right? It's like a reflex. No, because she must deny it for herself. Okay. I just want to register that this is how she rolls, okay? She is not a friend, certainly a fellow Nigerians, and I strongly doubt that she is a friend of Black women generally, okay?
I will say that I'm sure.
You're sure? Yeah.
In that very scene, though, she repurposes that against Wendy. She goes on to say, like, I just expected us to be Igbo sisters.
Yeah. In the confessional, listening, but this is her superficial indication of what that would mean. Listening to Afro beats together. Oh, okay. That's the sisterhood to you. It's like, you see, she's making like a mockery out of it. It's already superficial discourse to describe what it would mean to bond with a fellow Nigerian woman. Listening to Afro beats. Okay, got it, girl. So anyway, Wendy walks in, serving, obviously, And then
Not obviously for Wendy. She's had some misses.
Wait,
No,
she's beautiful this
Wendy.
season.
Wendy has consistently been best dressed this season.
No, when she came to Ashley's barbecue.
I didn't love that outfit, but she looked cute. She wasn't.
Oh
not-
yeah, that denim
No.
number. Yeah, but it was trendy. It was,
Okay.
it was not. It's like people are allowed one or two misses. Okay, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the
Um,
outfit has to speak to the total package, and like her face,
right? Because her face was
Yes.
stunning that day.
Well, this
yeah.
was reminiscent of that, but like this was out of the park. So then
Yeah,
I
it
thought
was-
back to
it was
the other
definitely a
one,
set.
like, ooh,
Mhm.
yeah.
A two-piece for sure.
She's been loving sets of late. Yeah.
So then Nneka says, "You look nice." Wendy goes, "Thank you."
Not you too. Not hey girl. Thanks.
And I think just in light of Nneka leading with a compliment, which she does everywhere she fucking goes, right? In light of her leading with a compliment, people might be reading like, oh, Nneka came in with good intentions, really trying to resolve things. But when you get to the nitty-gritty of the way the conversation ensued, no, that was just her cheap ass kissing. Like every time she does that, it's not earnest. Nobody like embraces it like, oh, you're so kind. It makes people feel uncomfortable. Like when she did it to Candace and she's like, yeah, we're both wearing bright colors. Sit down.
Yeah, it's a reach.
So she says, I'm willing to move forward with you despite your mom submitting my name to a shrine. That's an insult. You're playing my face. You're
Yeah.
playing my face, right? And so then they do this back and forth where like Wendy asks for clarification. Okay, Nneka, if I've aggrieved you, what did I do? Your sister, no, what did I do? Your mom, what did I do? I asked, what did I do? Okay. Then eventually Nneka says, I apologize for calling your mom by the name of a witch.
Why did she modify the name of a witch?
I wish she was getting ready to not say anything, right? Like she was getting ready to throw some shade in that apology. And then after she gets her apology out, Wendy goes, okay, thank you. Right.
Yeah.
And then Nneka goes, but you need what you should have done is it's like, Nneka, you don't have any grievances to raise here because the only things Wendy did to you that we saw, the only things, and it seems to me like that you are even claiming, the only things Wendy did to you was return insults, roast, negative energy when you first brought it to her.
Yep.
The crackhead comment, who cares? Shut up. It's a joke.
She brings that up every time. And it's like, wow, you literally have nothing to say.
Nobody believes you're doing crack. It's not compromising your life in any way. And it was literally your mama joke, like in the face of an insult, you probably first launched. Like you're the one who keeps starting these kind of, you don't apologize for every roast because then you'd be apologizing all day, right? Like that's stupid.
And it was just an offhanded roast. It was just like
it was a desperate grasp at
even...
that time. It didn't even land well. As I rewatch, I find it hilarious, but it didn't land well then.
It was like desperate because it was in front of everybody that hates Wendy already. It was Giselle, Rob, and Mia. The whole crew was present. So yeah, Wendy had to try to get her little shots off. But
it wasn't, it was just like, she could have called her a butthead. It was that level.
Literally, it would have been the equivalent, a butthead. So this is Nneka trying, after her apology, she tries to double down on her victimization narrative, right? Like, what about the impact on me? Okay. And Wendy's like, you know what calling my mom a witch signifies on in our culture. Like my children were also compromised by it. How are your children? Because you called their grandmother a witch. You know that reverberates on our entire lineage in this culture. Well, what you said, your mom submitting my name to a shrine reverberates on my entire lineage. Oh. So you believe in shrines?
You've had experience with shrines.
I thought the shrine was not a part of, she told Candace at the pickleball episode, no, we don't, that's not part of our stuff. That's not part of our culture. She said shrine, like, and then when people asked her shrines, like, clarify what you mean by shrine. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But now she's telling us it has deathly implications for her and her entire lineage? What's going on? What is the truth, Nneka? Because I thought you don't do the shrine shit. I thought you didn't know about that.
It's a tangled web.
Okay.
So,
yes, please.
well, I just have a question about like, was Nneka always gonna double down, or was she meeting Wendy's kind of like unreceptive demeanor as something that she had to like react to so as not to look so pitiful? Because when she came to Wendy at the Happy Eddie event with hat in hand and humble, like it feels like she was undaunted by Wendy's coldness to be like, okay, well, I'm still putting it out there. Anything, and now she's like going hard.
Let me speak to that.
Yeah,
I think that this, to Ellen's point about her not having Black friends, she is used to just saying sorry and then that being enough. She thought that, okay, now she will accept my apology and we'll move on. But like
no, not we'll move on. She'll accept my apology, then she'll return with an apology. That's the playground logic of apologies,
well,
right?
yes,
Or
yes,
what white people do.
yes.
I'm sorry for blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry for a thing I'm not actually sorry for as well. Okay, right? Like
No,
a
exactly.
superficial apology exchange is what she expected. So when Wendy
To check
said,
the
thank
box.
you, Nneka, very conscious of the cameras, is like, no, now you're gonna make me look bad if I don't get an apology. Like reciprocity. No, like there doesn't have to be a reciprocity when one person is glaringly in the wrong. Are you kidding? You just want me to fake sorry for something I actually am not sorry for / didn't really do to you?
Right.
Okay, but what we also get, and this I insist is the richer material, we get finally Nneka's account of actually the way things transpired over and against the tidbits of misdirection she's been giving us all season. Here we go. Okay. Nneka, when she finally gives the account, said, oh, but first of all, she also claims, before she gives the account, she claims, so as Kristen pointed out, she returned what Wendy accused her of back in Austin. So the real crime is that Wendy is trying to keep me from the group. That's what she said is the crime this episode. She was not saying that previously. The crime was that her mom submitted your name to a shrine. Now the crime is that Wendy was keeping you from the group. Help us understand, Nneka, because you never brought that up before. She elaborates. 2 weeks before I even joined this group, okay, this is even before my first interaction with Ashley. Recall that interview, and we can recall what she says in that interview. Ivy expressed that Wendy informed her, I'm quoting Nneka verbatim when I say this, okay? Ivy, and I'll change the pronouns to the actual name of the person to clarify. Ivy expressed that Wendy informed Lebe that another person would be joining the circle of friends. Ivy expressed that Wendy informed Wendy. Ivy expressed that
Ivy is Wendy's sister, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Ivy expressed that Wendy
informed Wendy.
Ivy. Wendy informed Ivy.
You're right.
I was like, hey, this is not clicking.
Ivy expressed that Wendy informed Ivy that another person would be joining the circle of friends and that she was really upset about it.
That Wendy was upset, yes.
Why would Wendy be upset that another person was joining the circle of friends? There's got to be a reason. Cut to...
Well, well, no, you keep going and then we'll come back to it.
Okay. Immediately cut to a flashback of Nneka on FaceTime with Lebe. Lebe is saying there was some issue with you possibly using her name because she felt that it was somewhat of a clout chase. So you didn't clarify, Nneka, for us in the confessional, but the producers dug the footage up of the clarification. Why Wendy would have a problem with it? Because you used her name and she regarded it as a clout chase. So there, Lebe is very like kind of cool-headedly, calmly relaying the conversation either with Ivy or with Mama Sue. And she's
Yeah.
not saying anything about Mama Sue denouncing her, condemning her to hell, submitting her name to shrines. She's kind of very level-headedly explaining, well, it seems their issue is that they didn't want you using their name, which I'm sure Lebe was the one who told Nneka to use their name because Ivy and Mama Sue fell out with Lebe, who they had previously had a relationship with.
And Mama Sue
Yes.
told us that, yeah.
Right. So it seems to me the real conflict is between Lebe on the one hand and then Ivy and Mama Sue on the other. And Wendy and Nneka are operating at the extremities of this, you know, matrix. Okay. And so for Nneka to be raising the conflict with Wendy, Wendy didn't do that. Wendy didn't go on TV and go, why are you? She didn't do that. You brought it up on camera. You brought it up in front of a bunch of other people who are actually Wendy's friends. And you've been telling us little tidbits of the story. You haven't been fully revealing it. The only accusation you made was some anti-Black witchcraft accusation. Okay. So the actual truth is you did use her name to try to get on the show. She didn't like it. She had her own friend she wanted to put on. And she doesn't know you well enough like that. She doesn't want you jumping on. And even if for Wendy, it's like, I want to be the only Nigerian. You can't prove it. I can imagine it's a motivating part of her, but you can't prove it. And the way you went about it was tacky. It's like you're using her. I wouldn't
if
like
you
it
were
either.
gonna go about trying to prove it, there would have been all these other. The strategy was bad from the beginning.
I mean, yeah, the strategy was bad, but she would never be able to prove it because the whole time she was trying to use somebody who she didn't know well to get put on. And then this is what I believe. This is what the narrative of the story will not tell us happened next. Remember, she got the phone call from Lebe before she sat down with Ashley. Why didn't she bring it up to Ashley? Because Ashley sure was baiting Nneka to be like, talk shit about Wendy. Talk shit about. She's a doctor, I guess, like your husband.
She was doing more than baiting Nneka. When Nneka wouldn't step in, she spoke it for herself.
And Nneka refused the bait the whole time. But if she was so upset by this thing, why didn't she raise it? Because she.
Wow.
Because what? Because of what? Because she. This is a great still image, though.
Are you back? Can you see us, hear us?
Yes. Okay. There's two of me up here again, but we shall see.
Yeah.
Okay, but it was because you left us on because
she.
Oh, she did not want to tell Ashley at that time because she feared it would compromise her chance of getting on the show. Now, why would she then later bring it up once she's on the show? Because she thinks her place is secure? No. She brought it up later once she was on the show and in front of everyone, because by then the ghost producer had enabled her to bring it forward. Clearly, Nneka was made aware that there is actually a plot to get rid of Wendy, or at the very least, we don't like Wendy, so we're going to spend the entire season coming after her. Okay. And that's when Nneka decided to share this so-called damage, but she didn't share the actual thing that she ends up telling us this time. This entire time, she's been saying, your mom's a witch. Your mom's a witch. Your mom's submitted my name to a shrine. And most of us responded with, we don't care. Where's the shrine? Are they taking additional submissions? We will contribute. Okay.
Let's put Giselle on that shit.
So, right? Because she thought that was going to be the way to damage her reputation. This is how I contribute to the project of dragging Wendy down. If she had to admit the truth, well, I was trying to get down, so I referenced her name in order to facilitate the connections, and she was unpleased. She was displeased about that. That would have just made Nneka look bad. So she lied up to now, or at least redirected the actual focus.
And continues to. Like, that's why her story keeps being so confusing. Like, every update she gives this episode about what happened, it's like, wait, girl, that's not what happened. That's not what you said. That's not how it went.
That's not what you said. Most importantly, that is not what you said. And then when she goes like, well, your mom submitted my name to a shrine, you don't even know that for a fact. Did you go visit the possessor of the shrine and say, has my name been recently submitted?
That's so true. You should have just said, your mom threatened me. If you were going to go down that route.
Exactly. And she didn't. Your mom threatened me via my cousin-in-law because she didn't threaten you directly.
Nope.
That's the thing
Yeah.
about a threat. You can't actually raise that, right? That's defamation because like a threat is like grounds for legal action, right? She didn't threaten you directly to your face, so you still can't even prove it. You certainly can't prove she submitted your name to a shrine.
A submission is that's strong word to
I know, right?
to
You gotta
submit
repeat.
something. Yeah.
And Wendy made that point really well. I was glad she said it. It's like, you see how what I'm charging you with is what you did. You called my mom a witch, but what you're charging me with is some third party shit that you have no evidence for. And she, well, Lebe told me. Lebe said it.
And for the record, do I think Mama Sue called Lebe and
Yes.
She said it.
got her roll her fist
Yes.
back? Yeah, and she should have. What's up?
She said it with her chest when Wendy asked her. She said, I told her that it's easy to have friends, but
it's hard to make a friend. It's easy to make
an enemy. Now that's a threat, damn near. But she nailed it. She nailed it.
Yes. Right. And that's the thing. If Wendy was honest from the beginning, it would have been fine because this is fine. But Mama Sue has nothing to be ashamed of.
Literally, exactly. Mama Sue does have nothing. And so I can see why people think Wendy like was not open in the conversation, but I would argue like saying thank you for the apology. She didn't say like thank you, bitch. She said thank you. And like she had her guard up because she said, I know you're not gonna do the right thing. I know you're not gonna drop the claims. But when she issued her the apology, as contorted and twisted and poor as it was, Wendy still thanked her, and then Nneka resorted back to this. And what about my apology? Like,
And then Wendy said, "Let's cut the shit. I'm leaving. That's why I didn't order anything."
But before she even walked off, Nneka then reneged on the apology by once again invoking, "Your mom submitted my name to a shrine." Well, she did. Well, are you apologizing for it or not? Because you're not going to keep bringing it back up and damning my mother. Like, okay, it's short of calling her a witch now. You're not sorry. You just went back on it.
She's not sorry at all. She had come to a place in her mind where she's like, okay, I will perform this in front of Wendy and da 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 da.
Okay,
but she's not actually accountable.
So here's my question. What was the substance of Nneka's tears after Wendy left? She starts crying. She's like, I'm not crying for her. It's just that and she starts like tearfully trying to be like, no, I'm not, it's not Wendy. But like, why did you start crying then, girl? Did you, what do you feel bad about?
I think she actually wanted it to go well. And I think she wanted to perform the apology. She embarrassed. Yeah. I think she's like, this is still not being resolved. I think she's worried about her status on the show. I think she's like, I'm stuck in this plot line.
I think something similar, but I think she's like on a root level. I think it was the fear of the loss of potential inclusion, right? Or potential approval, potential recognition, right? Like, oh my God, I'm worried that like this could reverberate in terms of the relationships to other women. But like, even if she didn't consciously have all that, it's like, like I said, she goes like this. She wears her insecurity on her person. I do believe she thinks Wendy is better than her. Like, and by my account, she is as well. Like, so it's like for that person to be rejecting you by walking off, it's like, I'm never gonna get the approval of people with more status than me.
Yes, and in spite of her schemes, this on just a very basic like playground level, like she felt this rejection.
Yes, exactly. I tried to ingratiate myself, and of course it's like, you messed that up though. I tried to ingratiate myself to the cool girl, and the cool girl shut me down. Nneka screams that energy from across the fucking room.
Down the street. Okay. All right, so let's just say, thank you, Wendy, for walking off. Okay. We then cut to Candace and Chris. Candace, this is a very human dispute. Like, she wanted him to be more free when he wasn't. Now the shoe's on the other foot, and she doesn't have anything to say. Like, well, yeah, that's hypocritical. And I've seen her in other interviews own up to that. Like, yeah. We then, and that's very little that we've seen of Candace and Chris over the course of this season. So I'm glad that we had that moment.
We can't dwell on the cuteness.
We cannot dwell on the cuteness. We got to cut to the DR. Okay.
Well, I just want Kristen to note her thing because I mean I agreed with it, and I like the way.
Oh,
she phrased it.
What did I say? I forget. Like it was just a cute little,
cute if tense.
Right. It was like some hostility, but it was like managed lovingly. You know, like the tension of their difference of opinion was like honored and avowed, but still like it didn't feel like a nasty, you know, jabby kind of thing. Their love was there, you know.
And I feel like in a moment for the Enneagram, like this felt like a classic what an 8 and a 9 are like interacting. Like that moment where he's like, I told you there's gray areas, right? You say to the 8, very black and white, and then there's not a gray area with your health, Chris. And Chris is like, because a 9 is typically just like help, who cares? Like
yes. And I think it looked particularly cute because the tension that was there that was also managed like the two people involved love each other. It's like, oh, this is a real relationship.
Yeah. Exactly. Rather than the performance, like, because Mia and Gordon, like, it's like Gordon is amused by Mia. I think he appreciates her sense of humor, but sometimes you get the sense that they are really trying to give us the picture of something. And of course, there are all these like vicissitudes to their relationship they still won't fucking tell us about, which is confusing.
Yes. All right. So then we are also just gliding over Grace's graduation, but we want to say congrats to Grace. You know, K through 12 is difficult, but you know, you made it through, and good luck to the twins.
You have one more year left.
One more year.
Yes.
Giselle.
And you know what is so interesting and we should read just for the future? Like, you know, I'm watching this with Neri and he's like, the twins are like 14. How can they be going away now? And it's because Grace looks so much older than them, right? I just want to think about that. Because arguably the twins do look young-ish, but Grace looks really older than her age. And I want to think about how she's managed to age so quickly as mom's favorite daughter and, you know, Giselle's attempt to reproduce herself in Grace.
Yes, the twins seem very girlish in comparison. And I too I thought they were at least 2 years younger.
Yeah. When she said I had 3 girls under 2 at the same time, I'm like, oh, are they just 1 year apart? I did not realize that.
For the record, that's how you should do it, everyone, okay? Run the kids close together so they can be friends.
Oh, yes.
It worked
but
out.
That's really close. But, you know, she wasn't expecting twins, I imagine. So all right, so let's jump right in to the beginning of this DR trip.
Okay, because we don't have shit to say about that little fake shopping trip.
No, it's already been said. Nneka's fake. One thing I will say is that her recounting of the discussion with
totally inaccurate. So lieful. Is that a word? There's so many lies. Like
what I was most offended by is that she said, you know, and Wendy's mom got lost in
crossfire.
Yeah, in the crossfire. No, you were shooting at her.
Shooting at Wendy's mom directly. Like
point
she wasn't
blank.
even in the room and you were just
Yes.
And then so she said Wendy tried to gaslight her. I'm sorry, where, ma'am?
By the way, we need to pinpoint what Nneka's type is because by the way, okay, sorry. Anybody who watches Love Island knows, like, there are these women on Love Island who will get like played by the men they're coupled up with one week, and then go back and tell the story like, so I'm really glad I ended things with him. While we all like, they do this so habitually, it's fucking gaslighting. But like, for her to call Wendy a gaslighter and then be lying in the face of the public, hoping I guess we don't notice. You totally re-narrated that.
it's all recorded, okay? So if you don't want to be caught up in a lie, make your life a little smaller.
We are
Well,
gonna play it back. We
You
are
know
gonna
who
play
she
it back.
might be? She might be learning that from the little light skin brigade who actually
Re-narrates
effectuate
content.
that strategy by
Mhm.
speaking an account that's not the truth, but they have the force of production behind them to try
Yes.
to at least make
Yes.
it safe. It's like, Nneka, you don't have you're being used by them. You don't mistake
Yeah.
that having their
Yeah.
power, you know?
Right.
Yes.
And they don't seem that, even though they are anti-Wendy, they're not that inclined to help you somehow, like, because they just exposed the fucking lie she's been telling all season.
And that's the thing. Nneka is happy to be used. That she takes that, she's not a 2, but when it's like 2s will.
She's either a 2 or a 4. That's my guess. Okay, that's my guess.
I think she's
What
a
are your
6 or
Oh.
yeah. Because I get that the body language is 6-ish to me.
Kristen, you got any guesses at this point?
I don't. I mean, I think 2 seems right in one way, but she doesn't feel particularly seductive, or it doesn't seem like it's working well. Like, who does she? She
I feel
might
like her
try to
relationship with Ike would be different.
She ingratiates a lot, but like I don't see her being good at like drawing
Yeah.
people in.
Yeah, but that's a 4 then. It's like, of the people who can ingratiate, it's 2, 3, and 4 generally. Like 6s aren't really handing out compliments. They're just not. They're too cold.
But the way she does it is just like a white woman. Like, you check the box of complimenting someone.
Yeah. And a 2 is probably going to, as to Kristen's point, probably going to make you feel a little more compelled by the compliment.
Yes.
Of course, a 2
but
is
I could see a
constantly
6.
giving.
Yeah.
6s they're not giving compliments to strangers.
But I'm saying, if you're around the culture that does those fake compliments all the,
What about a 3? She's tacky and can't see. Like she could be a 3, right?
But I feel like she would care more about her job. But maybe that's just a stepping stone
that's
to
the
this
thing.
larger.
She would work harder.
Too. Maybe she's like, this is employment as well.
Yeah, she could be working hard and we just don't know it.
Yeah. Well, because she's failing miserably at it.
Her house would have been finished. Her house would have been finished before she let the cameras in.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that would have sparked a lot of joy. Those boxes from the wedding would have been unpacked. I mean, yeah.
Not only did she let the camera in, but she invited people over like that. Like,
and that's what I was upset about with the PJ party being cut off. We didn't even get to see them open one box. Like, let us see a reaction to a box.
There was one, I think, but yeah.
Okay, so now they're in the DR. Let's do a whirlwind. Start us off. 7 minutes. What do we have?
First thing Nneka says when they arrive at, we could talk about the Casa the like trip to Casa de Campo, where Karen invokes Ray's trips to the DR, and in the confessional, Giselle uses that opportunity to shit on her, and it's like, enough. Karen already told us this is the story Ray tells me, right? She's already putting the question of doubt on it. She roasted herself. You don't have to roast her.
I was very surprised she brought that story up.
Yeah, fair. But I'm not that surprised, actually.
I just felt, I agree that Giselle, I read that super nastily, because I'm just like, girl, this to me is evidence now of like your commitment to misery. It's like you have to emphasize, Ray playing Karen, even though she brought that up in the spirit of doubt, because now you're just in this misery block with Robyn, and it's like I feel like the function of that is to be like, your man's cheating too, okay?
Yes. Literally, she said, if you're a maid and you answer the phone, DM me because I want to talk to you. Karen needs to know. Like, first of all, there was a disjuncture. The sentence was cloudy, but
did she say Karen needs to know? I didn't think it was
at the end
for
of
that
confessional, because Karen needs to know. You see how she connected these disjointed things? Like, she's not even clever anymore. Her mind doesn't even work well. She's not sharp. She's not witty. She's not funny anymore. No, seriously, like you know what I mean? Like, when you watch Karen and Candace in the confessionals, you are like, wow, you must be taking your vitamins because your brains are on fire. And Giselle's is sputtering. It's like, bleh, 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 like, as she desperately reaches for anything she can to drag people down.
Yep.
Yes. But, you know, that was kind of always her thing. Now that I'm doing the rewatch, she was never
Yeah.
as clever as her presence
Yeah,
might make you
yeah. But she
think.
was still better. It was still like, okay, girl, I see you. Like it was, you know, it was like a chuckle you would give her. And now
She
it's a
stood on
cringe.
firmer ground. And
Mhm.
so it was like, okay,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
and she was, you know, she always deploys a little goofy self-deprecation, and maybe because she was well liked in those earlier
And more
seasons,
secure.
and it landed well, but she's not even
She can't
venturing
afford a
self-deprecation
single.
anymore.
Yep.
Mm,
Yep.
mm-mm.
Okay, so they walk into the Casa de Campo and Nneka goes, I love the all white. It's like Greece.
I swear to God, I hate this one.
I thought this
Meanwhile-
could be a fun moment for us to underscore that modern Europeans bleached all of the ancient Greek
Yes.
statues to try
Yes, that's
and
very true.
recast their heritage as like the exaltation of whiteness, but
Yep.
we don't got time for
They
that.
used very
apparently.
dynamic
Next time, give us that
colors.
lesson, Katherine.
It's working on Nneka.
Yes.
I noted that Giselle tries to be like, why doesn't Karen want to share a room? She doesn't want to see us to see what she looks like with her wig off. Like,
But
girl.
I also, over the years, I've been surprised that Giselle and Robyn get so upset when they have to share a room. Okay. But I understand sometimes they've had rooms that have really been the, you know, worst room. So
Yeah.
it's like, having experienced that, why are you so quick to be like, why don't you want to? It's like, you should be the first one to be like, yeah, it's shitty having to be, you know, last on these people's lists.
yeah. And well, what's Karen? What's her name? Robyn. Another kind of Karen. Robyn acted like it was all Karen Huger's fault that her and Giselle have had to share the room. Like, why are you shitting on this 60-year-old woman? Like, I don't like, you know, I don't even believe in like the kind of hierarchy that comes with age, but I do believe in a certain level of respect for a woman who is in her like senior years. Come on. You want her to
She
share
went-
a room?
She went way too hard on that. She went way too, and like, okay, it's one thing if Karen's going to share a room, fine, whatever. But then for Ashley, like for her to set it up so that Ashley originally wasn't supposed to share the room, that was so, and for her to point out, oh, you've also never had to share.
It's also a way of reminding Ashley of her lesser place in the hierarchy, because of course that's what Robyn. But I will say, like, I don't know if some people felt like, I think I saw something on the internet like Karen was doing too much. No, I'm a stand with Karen right on. If I go on vacation and you put me in a room, a hotel with not enough light, it's going to ruin my time. Okay, I'm very much into curating my environment. Why am I here on the lovely beach amidst the sand and the beautiful palm trees if you're going to trap me in a closet? I will be cranky and I will ruin everybody's time. It's a promise.
I didn't think she was doing too much, just because there's that history with her and Robyn. And so it's like, clearly I thought she had the right to be upset with her, blah, blah, blah. But when Ashley first offered her room to Karen, I would have just, okay, settled, you know?
Yeah, but she was also in the middle of the convo with the hostess woman. So it's like, what do you want me to do? Just tell this woman, okay, no, fuck off, and then go to your room? Because I think
She
at
wanted
that
to see
point,
what she could get.
and I think at that point, Ashley hadn't yet chosen her single room. And what Karen had seen of the option, she was like, no, I don't want a dark single room just for a single room. I would like sunlight to come into, like, sunlight saves lives, everyone. Okay, this is no small matter. It's not.
It does. It does.
I mean, I would have to see it under different circumstances, but I just love seeing Karen like stunt on Robyn.
I know, it was relentless.
Alone. That's all. I'm just like,
Well,
especially because she was like, it's 5Gs, we'll take it then. Like, and Robyn in earshot, and she's just like, shut up, Robyn. Shut up. Like, I just love that. I love it.
her dissatisfaction and like all this pent up anger at Robyn was coming up. I also felt my own, even at the point where I did start to feel like, okay, Karen, like you, I still was like, yes, yes. Like every time she was getting in those digs and it was continuing, I still wanted to be
hilarious.
You know,
I love it.
It was hilarious. Like at the very least, it's hilarious. You can't like, you know, because I think Wendy and Candace's position now is to mostly like ignore the bullshit coming from there. But when Karen is going, they're just like,
Yes.
Ashley laughed
yes.
a few times. Like Ashley was over there
Hilarious.
chuckling. What can you do? The woman
All
is
right.
funny.
So we got to wrap this up, and I will just leave it on this. Actually,
Wait.
somebody, yes,
We-
last
we
words here.
Actually have to speak to the coronation ceremony.
Yes,
Okay,
last
even before
words, make
that,
it about
can we
coronation.
please track what nasty Giselle is up to with respect to Kiarna? That is important speculating.
Oh,
Okay, we don't yet know, but something is definitely happening there. Let us not just take for granted Giselle is kind and compassionate, and so she was. I think Kiarna has done
No.
something to upset Wendy and Candace. Also, I think they might have pulled back a little bit from her, and then Giselle pounced on that opportunity.
yes, Giselle
so
was an
curious.
8 lying in wait.
I'm
Yeah,
so
perceptive, watching the movements of power.
like when she involved herself, when she went over to check on her, she said, well, I know Kiarna because she used to do hair and she knows Cal and she is a Baltimore girl. And it's like,
Mhm.
just when has the invocation of a Baltimore person ever been something that you've celebrated? You know what I'm saying?
Well, she
Like,
started that phrase, the whole thing with she's a Baltimore girl, and I thought she was giving like she was making fun of her from the beginning. You
that's
know?
Yeah,
I mean, it
exactly.
felt like it
That's
was
the
a
tone
cloak
you got.
of veiled, like, well, she's a
Mhm.
Baltimore girl, but like, but she's also trying to trade on some credibility about it or something.
By the
And
way, she said it before on the pickleball episode. She pointed out that Kiarna from Baltimore, like, so she's repeating it. It's like in her head, fusing it.
Yes, that's her
Um,
personality.
Okay, if we're gonna close, let me just say at this coronation ceremony, Giselle said, I gave the title. You know, it really, viewers, Zakiya Iman Jackson writes a chapter of a book, but also a freestanding article called Losing Manhood, where she takes note of the way the slave master in Beloved can authorize his enslaved men, his enslaved property by making them men, right? Like, and how that is none other than a way of shoring up his power, in relation to them. It's not a gift to bestow manhood as a title to them because he's the slave. What he's saying is, I have the capacity to authorize one way or another. You're either going to be a man or not on the basis of my say so. And we see Giselle proudly try and wear that. I made Karen the Grand Dame. Jealous you didn't make her a damn thing. Okay, so she's
what's
like,
crazy,
I can take it away.
What's crazy is like, did you? Because if you did, I forgot. I don't remember.
Nobody remembers. It's like
Because
Karen needs you.
Karen has so inhabited her defiant, hilarious. It's crazy that Giselle, you gave it. Who? When? Nobody remembers.
Right.
Nobody thinks nobody thinks Karen needs you, Giselle. And then so at the start of the ceremony, so and she said this before earlier in the episode. So Nneka lives.
I was like, yo.
And said it twice. I'm like, is she walking around calling Nneka to her face?
Is Nneka walking around letting her?
Yes. And this is, we are wrapping it up there. Let me say, Nneka is happy to be used by Giselle, Ashley, she was being made a mockery of. And she was like, yes, I will. And I'll do a little lap around. You can see me.
Me? Like,
she's about to crane her neck off. Like,
oh God.
All right. Well, stay
Okay.
tuned.
Please comment with theories about the Kiarna Giselle. What's going on there? Does anybody
know?
New
shit is getting brewed. Some new shit.
Hey, while you're commenting, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, like the vid
and share.
Yes, widely.
And listen to us on Spotify,
widely.
mind you, on Spotify.
Let's
find us
next time.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Bye.